welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner. I'm your host as always, Cammy. Now it was quite the bitchin' week for comics, so let's get right into the week on how bitchin' it was, especially with this pick. This pick made me laugh out loud. So the pick of the week, this week from Image Comics, we have Sea Bear and Grizzly Shark #1, written and drawn by both Ryan Ottley and Jason Howard. Now, the premise is they got mixed up. And we get a nice little introduction by Robert Kirkman on how they got mixed up, because he has the whole prehistory thing, where water used to be land and land used to be water, way back when the Earth was forming. And then, you know, whatever was living in the sea had to move on to land. Well, these two got mixed up. And so we have Jason Howard doing the Sea Bear story, and it's about this little boy who watches his whole family get murdered on the lake by the sea bear, jumps in the boat, killing left and right, jumps back in. 20 years later, he comes back, you know, swears vengeance on it, and apparently there are the children of the sea bear who are running the fishing village still. They may want to make sure he has nothing to do with killing their mom, as it were. And so he's kind of like a government experiment gone wrong, where he has all these mechanized limbs and whatnot, and he's fighting his government captors, all trying to kill the sea bear at the same time, which he eventually does, but it was just so grisly and gruesome. And then we go right into the Grizzly Shark storyline by Ryan Ottley, and it's in the woods, and you see a shark fin, and then if there's the smallest speck of blood, the shark will appear and gobble you down whole. Well, they're trying to hunt down this shark who's been killing all this cattle. They use as an insect, or as a shark repellent, a cinnamon bear jubilee, which is an ice cream that one of them bought. It's just crazy wild stuff, and it's just the shark will appear out of trees, it'll appear out of bushes, and just gobble you whole. Unfortunately, we don't see a sea bear and grizzly shark battle. Maybe that'll be for number 2. But I'll tell you what, I had tremendous amounts of fun, because this comic was just so out there, so wonderfully, wonderfully humorous, that you don't need to be a fan of continuity to get this. But being a fan of Ottley and Howard's art helps, because if you know their work from Invincible and Astounding Wolfman, they do guts and gore really well. So that's the pick of the week. I had fun. Now let's go talk about that groovy Fast 5. First up from DC, we have Green Lantern Corps number 49. Now things get pretty intense as we see the Alpha Lanterns on the planet Granetta building a big central power battery. Why are they building one on this robotic, ancient, seems to be quiet planet? Well, we don't know, but John Stewart and Bodica are going to investigate, because some other lanterns like Stell, they've been lost in that system. They don't know where they went. And sure enough, when they get there, it's an ambush, and John Stewart's taken in by the Alpha Lanterns. What are their motives? We don't know, but Ganthet realizes there's not a lot of them on Oa right now, so he alerts Natu and Kyle, and then they go investigate. Sure enough, they see who's behind this whole trap. It is the cyborg Superman. That's right, he's back. Makes sense, because the Alpha Lanterns are half machine, half man. Same as Hank Crenshaw. It's going to be a nice little meetup. And will John Stewart become an Alpha Lantern? Is he going to be one against his will? Tune in next episode to find out. I loved it. Loved it. You should love it too. Especially with this new creative team of Bedard and Syaf. Good, good stuff. Next up from Marvel, we have The Amazing Spider-Man number 635. Now this is part 2 of the Grim Hunt. We have Ezekiel warning Parker about all the spiders being hunted by Kraven's family, the Krabanoffs. And sure enough, this issue they're going after Aranya. And in the park, Peter's trying to warn her to stay away. They get her, and it's Kane, his clone, that has to tell Peter, listen, they're just leading you into a trap. They want you to come to them so they can hunt you easier, because that's all they're about, is hunting and the great hunt and whatnot. But Peter foolishly follows Ezekiel, and it's not Ezekiel, his undead mentor. It's actually the Chameleon and Mysterio. They've been hired, we saw in the Gauntlet, by the Krabanoffs. And so the hunt is on. They're just murdering the shit out of Peter. They're with Kraven's old hunting rifle. They're shooting him, the one that he blew his brains out with. His siblings, or not siblings, his offspring are slicing and dicing, having the sacrifice of Spider-Man, having his blood pour out on the coffin, and sure enough, we see Kraven the Hunter return. I've been looking forward to this resurrection, because I'm like, okay, they're resurrecting all these other guys in the Gauntlet. They have to do Kraven eventually. Sure enough, they do, and it's spectacular. I can't wait to see what happens next issue. Good, good, spectacular stuff. Next up from Boom Studios, we have 28 Days Later, number 12. Now, Selena and the gang are captured by these American scientists because they were killing their infected patients because they're infected, they're supposed to die. Well, these American scientists have been wanting to experiment on them, seeing the effects of how one gets infected and how long it takes to turn, etc. And apparently they can't touch Selena because a general or someone of that high ranking wants her alive, as it were. So they've taken one of her own members of the party, Douglas, the little boy who wanted to go with them. They infect him right in front of her, and that breaks her in a way. And she just swears vengeance back in the holding cell. And sure enough, they make their escape. She goes back and does a mercy killing on Douglas, and then with the blood from her knife, flicks it at the scientist and the soldier, and does not kill them. They have to kill themselves pretty much. And the scientist has to just, he gets infected and has to feel every little bit of pain. And they watch the entire place burn down from an oncoming fire. And they released all the patients, as it were. So they're running amok, and Selena just watches it burn. It is such a good issue. Fuck having a movie sequel. This plays extremely well. I can't even picture this on screen. They would mess it up too much. But if you want more 28 Days Later, if you love the infected / zombie type of comics, this is it for sure. Next up from DC, we have Batman, The Return of Bruce Wayne, number 3. Now, in this exciting issue, we have Batman and Blackbeard the Pirate. Bruce is mistaken for the Black Pirate by Blackbeard. He says, I know you know where all that, gold is hidden in the Gotham City catacombs. Lead me through it. And so, to keep this cabin boy from dying, Bruce says, okay, listen, don't kill him. Let me lead you through the cave. So the cave has all these different booby traps. Bruce, being the detective and having some strange nostalgia, knows where to step, where not to step. And then he's confronted by the cabin boy and says, listen, I know you're not the Black Pirate because I'm the Black Pirate, And so that gives Bruce enough time to get away, put a cowl on, and then he is like the master, the Black Pirate underneath the catacombs, and all the Bat people are helping take down the pirates. And then it's Blackbeard and Batman fighting, sword fighting. It's just so much fun, this issue. You have Yannick Paquette's gorgeous art on this, and then at the end we see a nice little preview of the upcoming next reincarnation of Batman, which is Jonah Hex and Cowboy Batman. So it's going to be good stuff. I had a lot of fun. Where else can you see Batman versus Blackbeard? It's fun stuff like that. And finally this week from Marvel, we have the Fantastic Four number 580. Now in this issue, the main action happening is Uncle Johnny takes Leech and Franklin to Arcade's new toy store. Arcade says, no, I've given up my bad guy ways. I've teamed up with the Impossible Man. We're going to sell a lot of his toys. Well, of course, Arcade doesn't really want to sell them. He just wants the little bits and parts that are in the Impossible Man, in the toys, to control even better, go after the Impossible Man. There's a big fight, yada, yada, yada. Arcade gets, locked away. But the thing that really impressed me with this issue is Reed's the Future Foundation, which are all the young minds who have creativity and want to solve the world's problems. They, as their first project, want to work on Ben Grimm. They want to work on changing him back because, as they said, Reed has always tried to cure Ben completely, when in fact Ben is just constantly on. Like Johnny and Sue Storm, they can turn it on, off, their powers. Ben is constantly on, so now they want to have like a little off switch, even if it is for a little while. And sure enough, with their calculations, the serum that they've developed, he can be a normal human being again for 1 week, like for every year. That is cool storyline. No one's ever really thought of that before. I can't wait to see how it plays out, but it blew me away with Jonathan Hickman's crazy idea like that. This is why you should still be picking up the Fantastic Four, this issue alone. Well, comic book fans, that does it this week for Camy's Comic Corner. If you want more Camy's Comic Corner goodness, head on over to www.camyscomiccorner.com. From there you can get the best of the book of the months, of the interviews. You can listen to the audio version of the podcast, Geeky Talkie, where I have on some crazy guests these past couple of weeks. Also, if you like any of the kick-ass t-shirts that you see me wearing, head on over to www.deadlinegraphics.net and send Kelly an email. He has all the best of custom-made t-shirts of DC, Marvel, Image, whatever you want. If you want a Team Bear versus Team Shark t-shirt, he'll be more than happy to make it for you. There's only one name that I trust when it comes to comic book t-shirts. That's Kelly at DeadlineGraphics.net. And also a big shout out to Rising Sun Creations at rsc-online.com. They specialize in the best of U.S. comic books, manga, and collectible toys imported straight from Japan, all located in Mission Valley if you're in the San Diego area, or on their online shop at rsc-online.com. Well, that does it this week for Camy's Comic Corner. I am kind of sad because both England and the U.S. are out of the World Cup, so now I'm going to have to go root for Germany because I have been rooting for them. I mean, I want to say anything, but it was a blitzkrieg bop, in that last game. But anyway, this has been Cammy's Comic Corner. I have been your host, Cammy.